I was meant to die at 2 years old. So, as far as I'm concerned, I could die tomorrow. I don't think I will. I think I've got quite a while left. But the fact is I've exceeded my expiration date by so damn far.
Brothers Blake and Ryan Leitch live with a degenerative condition known as spinal muscular atrophy. Their muscles are gradually getting weaker, making them reliant on outside support for every aspect of their lives. Now they're doing what most 20-somethings do. They've gone flatting.
No, it just takes forever to pick the dice up and roll.
They've rented a house in Albany in North Auckland and found themselves a couple of flatmates.
The idea of going flatting with other people did not seem like a reality to me.
Leaving home is a big step for any young guy, but achieving independence is especially tough when you need 24-hour care.
Ryan sort of paced up and down beside me in the lounge in his wheelchair, up and down and up and down. And finally he said, "Mum, can I talk to you?" So I turned the TV off and I said, "Yes, Ryan, what is it?" He said, "I'm thinking about going flatting with Blake." And I said, "Oh, yeah, that'd be good." And you could hear him sort of go, "Ah." And he said, "Oh, OK."
I'd kind of done to the age, I think, where I'd had enough of living at home. Like, probably most of my friends had moved out of home, and I think my siblings were pretty much ready for it as well.
So I said, "Just let me know if I can do anything or if you need anything." And he said, "Yep, yep," and off he went.
Stubbornness kind of runs in our blood, so Ryan got that idea in his head that he wanted to go flatting. He started and got the ball rolling and told me it was time to move out, and I essentially just said, yes, okay.
It was the boys' idea, certainly not mine. I thought I'd have them at home for life. My life, anyway, not theirs.
She's got a very good poker face. So I don't know if she's taking it, badly or good.
And I turned the TV back on again, and the whole time my heart's pounding, pounding. And it really took my breath away.
So this is the kitchen area where we do all our cooking and stuff. It's very inventive. And now we're going down the corridor, which is where people walk or drive. And a bathroom where the cat goes to the toilet. And in here is my room, which is nice and all mine.
I think Ryan and Blake definitely saw it as doing us a favour by going out and, finding some other caregivers. I don't think they'll say it to our faces, but I think, being so dependent is a bit of guilt. And obviously us three, my sisters and I, we never saw it as, a burden.
His mum and the triplets have always put in, as much effort as is possible into helping us lead normal lives. So by moving out, that's taken a huge load off them. And of course, that is definitely one of the reasons that we've done it. But again, the prime reason was just that we would, it's a normal thing to do, is that you move into a flat.
Nearly 23 years of 5 children, turning 2 of them every 2 hours at night, and things that were part of who I am. I was my kids. I've lived my kids for 23 years, and that's it. And now I get a chance to change that and do things I want to do.
My mum, Judy, she's an incredible woman, and this is stuff that I'll never say to her face, of course, but she is an incredibly amazing woman who's done just gigantic amount more than she should have to.
They're my babies. They're leaving home. And in one way, I wanted them to leave home because that's what kids their age do. But on the other side, who was going to look after them? Who was going to check that their chests were okay and turn them at night and, things that I'd done for so long? I've invested a lot of time in making sure that they're still here. Not because that's what people expect of me, but they're my children and I want them to have a really good life.
We first met Blake and Ryan 7 years ago. Mum Judy and the triplets, Reese, Kendall and Melissa, have always been involved with the boys' care.
Well, usually the triplets and I get up in the morning, get ourselves ready before anything else, and then we start getting the boys up. So they grow normally, everything happens normally, but because their muscles don't grow, they don't have the strength to stand or walk or do things normal kids do.
I could walk when I was younger for maybe 6 months, I think. Then I got too heavy and I couldn't walk anymore, so as we get older we can do less and less things.
But it doesn't stop their brain at all. They develop academically and socially without having to run around and do things.
She knows everything that has to be done and what order and all that sort of stuff, so she just taught the triplets how to do it, I guess.
We just be helping Mum as much as possible because if she struggles, it affects us too. So we want to just get involved and help her as much as we can.
Really the sort of thing that'll bring a family together or break it apart, and people look at us and think, oh, you know, you do awesome things for your brothers, you must be awesome people, but I like to think that every brother and sister, if they were in our situation, would do it, eh?
Yeah. You worry about the boys' futures, if they're going to be able to get jobs or full-time care, or if they'll find a partner. Because they obviously don't want to live at home forever. They want to live their own lives. But it's just a matter of if that would be a realistic option. Yeah, you do worry for them.
But against all expectations, Ryan and Blake have left home. The move was only possible because of a new funding model that gives people greater choice in how they live. It has meant that Blake and Ryan can have 4 caregivers, providing round-the-clock care. 2 of their caregivers are also their flatmates. Ryan got things moving. He found the flat and the funding.
So he'd worked out that if he and Blake pooled their money, they could afford to do this. So they had to go together to be able to afford this flat.
The Brothers Flat is one of 150 trials being funded by the Choices in Community Living project.
You need to
I am speaking.
Ryan had to overcome doubt and bureaucracy to get his proposal accepted.
They would say to Ryan, well, it'll take us 6 to 12 months to find a flat. He said, I've done that. And then we have to look at the bathroom situation and the access and all that. And Ryan said, yeah, I've done that. And they both said to him, so what do you want us to do? He said, give me the money.
It wasn't too difficult to find a house, really. Luckily, with the flat we got, it's pretty wheelchair accessible as it is. We just needed to add 2 ramps, and we're going to need to do a bit of renovations for a shower.
Any shower needs to fit them and a caregiver.
We didn't think that getting a shower put in would be as much of a problem as it has become.
So every couple of days, the boys have to make a 10-minute drive back to Mum's to have a shower. A morning shower is something most of us take for granted. But for Blake and Ryan, it's a real mission. The whole process can take up to an hour.
pretty simple. I just I lie down on it. My head goes at the top end over there, and it's slightly tilted so that way the water heads straight down to the end. At the end, there's a small hose that goes into the drain. You can see there are two others got sides up. And that just stops the water from going out, and it's just a normal shower, really. Set lying down. My dad has a shower chair and enough room to get around. But it's easier at my mum's place because there's enough for the two caregivers to get around and wash us properly. What we're trying to do is get a shower bed put into the garage and do things there.
They'll chuck one of these hot water cylinders on the wall outside.
Yes.
A little roof and wet coming to do that for you. But it was pointed out just before when we were still looking at places for them, but this really suited everything else except for the bathroom. Pretty easy thing to put in there. It's pretty easy to get around, just takes a bit of time.
Essentially, a hot water tank, a hose, and a shower bed. It seems to be pretty simple, but apparently not.
The shower's going to go here. It's pretty simple because the water's already in the wall there. Sweet down
They're pretty much.
The family stays in pretty close touch. There's always someone dropping in once or twice a week.
I was hungry.
Not really.
Sweet, I am.
Want some tea?
It's a big change for the family after having spent hours every day of their lives looking after them.
Make sure you get your flat. Okay.
Hey, we're all sort of proud of them, proud of Ryan and Blake. It's sort of a bit of an accomplishment for all of us that we've managed to raise them up to look after them this long, and now they've managed to get out on their own. With as much of a success it is for Ryan and Blake, we all sort of see that as a relief for us that we've managed to do our job right all this time, and they've managed to walk away unscathed. It's all right.
Flatting means many firsts, like navigating around a supermarket.
It has been a lot better compared to a few months ago where we had to rely on our family to take us places and do things for us constantly. There'll be banana chips somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
I've been here once, I got lost. And I didn't realise you could get lost in a supermarket.
We've still got chicken breast, don't we?
No, I didn't think we had.
The good news is that they now get to choose what's for dinner. It also helps when your caregivers are 20-something males as well.
Ryan's known Sam since high school, and he's known Mark since kindergarten. Not too much has really changed because they have been doing a lot of this stuff for a long time anyway. It's pretty much the same role they play in our lives, it's just now it's 24/7.
There's been the usual learning to live with flatmates.
A lot of people say they have issues with flatmates after a month or two. There gets to be like personality clashes and whatnot, and obviously we have that, but not so bad because obviously we're dependent on them as caregivers and they're dependent on us for their wages.
Hey, Sam, do you know how many peas we have left?
How much water?
How many peas?
How many peas we have left?
Yeah.
I have no idea how many peas we have left. Do you want to count them in the packet?
42.
But for Ryan, the trip to the supermarket is just an outing. He's no longer able to eat solid food.
Yeah, I've got a peg in my stomach, or a G-tube, or whatever you want to call it, which is basically a small tube that goes straight through to my stomach. And because I can't eat properly, eat solid food, I have liquid food, which I basically inject straight into my stomach through this tube. And I do that about 4 times a day. It's much easier to not eat. I was losing quite a lot of weight, as you can probably tell. And
Ryan used to be bigger than me, so...
yeah, this is the comparison shot.
Yeah. We've been told to expect to die for how many years now?
First prediction was
2 years
dying
old.
at 2.
Yeah, so no one has any idea what's going to happen. Although I was recently told I could live long enough to be a grandfather. I don't see that happening.
Blake's final exams are approaching, but study often gets delayed by his new love, blogging.
At the moment, I'm in my final semester of a Bachelor of Communications, majoring in journalism. I'm mainly interested in political stories. I'm an incredibly sad person because I just love politics and hate politicians. I started a website just over a year ago for my research paper, and the idea was it was disability news, so it was written by a disabled person for a disabled audience.
With his mobility decreasing, Blake is now having to use speech recognition software, or a touchpad.
I can't use a normal mouse anymore because I can't fit my hand around it and move my arm far enough. But a touchpad is good because you don't need to move much at all. No caps that. However, comma, much like case study numeral 1, I use voice activation stuff. Effectively, I've got bloody useless circulation. The blood just doesn't seem to like going around my body. That means that when it's colder, it doesn't get to my hands fast at all, and that means I can't type. So yeah, essentially you can see on the top of my hand how it's quite splotchy at the moment because it's quite cold. And that means the blood's not flowing very well. So that pretty much means there'll be no typing for me today. Looking beyond the focus of the story, when it's not warm enough, then I use the voice activation software. Can you do my headphones? Can you do my headphones? Being dependent on others for practically everything can be negative, but it's brought me a lot of good people, a lot of good friends, and I am independent in the ways that matter to me. Are you going to do that computer course?
Maybe one day if I can move out of this.
Maybe.
Yeah, I have to figure out when and where I'm gonna do it first.
Blake's just finished his last exam, and the first thing on his mind is a cold beer.
Yeah.
But now, he has to think about what he's going to do with the rest of his life.
Next year, still not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing. Just started thinking of doing a graduate diploma in disability studies, which would be kind of up my alley. There's more interested than I am. I might go to Auckland Uni to do some more studying, this time in politics. I will probably end up being a commentator for a local wrestling organization because I'm incredibly sad. The only thing that's really set in stone is that I will continue doing things for the website. Because if I can get that website up and running, then that could potentially be a career. I never really have any long-term goals or really any short-term goals either. We've always been told, you're not going to live for too much longer. I've not really planned for too much longer, so I didn't really think of what the next step could be.
One thing Blake's always been passionate about is music.
I started writing my first lyrics, I think it was about third form. I think in that last one, I will catch you when you fall.
Do it like, I'll catch you when you fall.
I think keep the same.
Okay.
I will catch you when you fall.
Well, the lyrics are amazing. Like if you read through some of these, it's like the end of the chorus. It's like, my life's not a fable, my heart's on the table, but there is no beauty for this face.
A rugby player feels they have to play rugby. I feel I have to write.
Good friend Abby Bradfield has brought Blake's music alive.
If somebody's my friend, I already have a great amount of respect for them, purely because they're patient enough to put up with me and put up with my extended level of needs.
Like a brother, hey.
That's the way we are. It's how we roll.
It's how we roll.
As for how my love life's looking, about the same as ever, really. Perfect for songwriting and poetry, not fantastic for practicality. One of my philosophies that I live by is high hopes, low expectations. Hope I will, expect not to. So, it's not a great way to living a happy life, but it's a good way to live a contented life. Occasionally, if it's not a lyric that goes through my mind, it's a poem, and it's usually stuck in my head until I get it out. Surround sound and polished waves keep reality from the crazy raving fantasy that we all fall for. Us white sheep hoarded through the doors into a promised neverland, where hope and love could never land, for fear of prop contaminants. Such is the life us blessed are in.
How did your exam go, Blake?
Wow, that sounds...
I'm asking because I'm genuinely interested.
Most of the action figures are Ryan's. He's very into his collectibles. I'm very much into my DVDs. I do like more British stuff. Got a fantasy collection which has things like The Princess Bride, which I love, and also Labyrinth. And any movie that David Bowie's in is a good movie as far as I'm concerned.
Another advantage of being independent is going wherever you want, whenever you want. Today, they're off to the city, and one of their favourite shops, the Gaming and Comic Book Emporium.
We could sing the wheels on the bus.
We could, or we could not. That's another option.
Gaming and comic books are an interest Blake and Ryan share.
Hey Ryan, absolute blackest night.
Yeah, I am. It's like 120.
Blake's special interest is anything to do with wrestling. In fact, he's a staff writer for an online pro wrestling magazine.
Wrestling group, the Great War. Top one, far right.
Yeah, it's the... What is it, like New Zealand graphic novel film?
Ryan came top of the world in geography at secondary school and has a university degree. But he's found it hard to find a job, so he has plenty of time to indulge his passion. Life in the flat is pretty typical for these 20-something boys.
It's one of the advantages of living by ourselves. We're able to wake up when we want and go to sleep when we want and do what we want when we want.
Don't see me ever moving back in with my parents. I highly doubt this is the final stop, but no, I don't think I'll move back in with my mum and my dad. I'm not really sure why I would. Because it makes no sense to go and live with my parents anymore. Like, moved out, that's it.
Usually we go to sleep sometime between 3 and 7 in the morning, get up between 11 and 3 in the afternoon. It's a pretty cruisy life.
That's all.
Aren't they typical boys? You walk in the door and it smells of boys.
The whole living without girls thing is quite nice.
It's definitely useful.
Yeah, one language.
We usually have dinner together and watch whatever TV series we're watching together. We do that most nights of the week.
But I believe they're working on menus so they can have us round. They'll also have to clean the house to fit us in. We'll probably end up getting invited around for fish and chips or something.
Geez, we never go through training.
I'm not so reliant on my family anymore, which is, I think, good for all of us.
Yeah, it seems to be going good so far. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. We just kind of live normally and, yeah, enjoy the sleep-ins and enjoy the freedom to do what we want. After 23 years now of them worrying about us and making sure we're all right and us going to them for help about everything, it's just kind of nice for everyone to take a break from each other, really.
They've got a bit more freedom in what they can do now, because they don't have to worry about looking after Blake or I. And we've got a bit more freedom in what we can do because we don't have to worry about fitting it in with our family schedule, so overall worked out pretty well.
Also, after 20 odd years, you kind of get sick of your family.
I think that Ryan and Blake being disabled and so, like, 99% disabled physically, and they've gone out and done this, you know. Others can do it too. You know, these kids might be physically disabled, like lots of others, but they've still got brains that work and personalities, and they're just like we are, and let them do it. Just, you know, be there to open doors or whatever, but yeah, let them go. It's so exciting.
It's worked for us great. Not sure if it would work for everybody, but it certainly works for us.
I don't know, I didn't really expect anything. I assumed there'd be a place I can sleep and a place I can eat, and there is. So it's exceeded expectations so far, I guess. Everyone's now got their own time to do their own thing, and we're all able to just be ourselves a bit more.